Hey everyone, and welcome to the Ultimate Personal Trainer Podcast. Today, in this episode, I'm going to talk about how I took my gym from 0 to 7 figures. So I'm going to go through the whole story of it. It's something I don't talk about a ton because it was a while ago, so the lessons may not necessarily be applicable today. Some of the strategies certainly aren't, but there's a lot of useful information here if you are thinking of running a gym and the realities of it and how hard it actually is to push it towards a 7 figure business. So let's get started. So with my training career, like a ton of other people in the fitness industry, I started out in a commercial gym being a one-on-one coach. I was very, very lucky. In my second year, I won National Trainer of the Year. I was very lucky to have some clients that got some really awesome results. And then I capitalized on that by doing it again the year after that. And then I quit working in the commercial gym space. But because I was very successful in there, I got quite a large client base. And because the retention tools that I teach and the way that we can create relationships with our clients, if you can solve that client problem and create a good relationship with them and they like you, they will stick with you for a very, very long time unless something horrible happens. I still have clients to this day, 20 years later, who started with me on, I'm not going to say day one, but in the first 3 to 6 months of my career. So very, very lucky to have clients that long. But this is part of the story because this is part of how you build your gym up organically as well. Now, after a period of time, in the commercial gym space, I kind of worked by myself, working remote, going to people's houses, etc., training them and doing therapy. And I opened up a clinic as a musculoskeletal therapist, just small one room, nothing fancy. And I treated clients in there. And my entire business was generated entirely from word of mouth. Getting results, getting referrals for people, that's exactly what I did. And after maybe a year of doing that, I doubled the size of my clinic because I wanted the space to train people in as well to make sure that they could get the results from a movement perspective. I wasn't training people for performance, for body composition or anything like that, but I was training clients to move better, feel better, and as a adjunct to their rehab program. So I started creating more of a multi-tiered income stream where I wouldn't be relying on just word of mouth all the time. I could actually have regular business, which is really, really useful for a personal trainer. From here, I then opened up a gym in St. Leonard, so the North Shore of Sydney, to basically capitalize on that, to do the treatment in there, but to have a bigger range of clients that I could see and more equipment that I could use because the space was doubled again. And from there, I brought someone on to take on board 50% of the rent. Now, they weren't as successful for me as a trainer, but they were quite good at getting new clients in. They weren't as good at retaining them. So what we did after a period of time is we basically combined forces and opened up Australia's first semi-private training facility. After a year of doing that, we then doubled the size of the space and we started hiring staff members to run a semi-private training facility in St. Leonard, same building, different floor of the building, so the whole floor, which we were able to scale to basically full capacity within 6 months. The reason for this is we had really good retention and we had a lot of luck. We were at the beginning of the Facebook ad revolution. So as soon as Facebook started doing ads, we were one of the first ones to say, hey, lose 5 kilos in 28 days. It was the easiest thing in the world to get clients at that time, simply because Facebook had no restrictions on the ads. And then from there, we were able to get the gym booked out full enough so then we could move into a space, a 700 square meter facility, size of a commercial gym, all for semi-private personal training that we took all the way up to $20,000 per week, which is $1 million per year business. So how did we actually do that when we got in there? Because what we found when we got in there, we were way over our heads. We had basically underestimated how much it would cost to set up. We had underestimated how quick leads would come in just from opening up a new facility. And we underestimated the cost of staffing that and the amount of work it would actually require to do everything that we needed to do to run the gym to the highest level possible. So how did we get up to $20,000? We went crazy on marketing spend. We absolutely pushed marketing at the expense of everything else, including my business partner and I, our own personal income. From it, we pushed it towards marketing with expenditure of up to over nearly $2,000 per week. And we just pushed in trial after trial after trial, person into the gym, trained them, converted them, kept on going and repeating the process ad nauseum and adding on new and new staff members. After a while, we got that to $20,000, so 7-figure business per year. But one of the things that a lot of people don't consider is the amount of effort that you should put into client acquisition should pale in relation to the effort you put into client retention. So after a period of time, we noticed this was happening on income. It was going up, it was going down, it was going up, it was going down, based on the intakes that we had on certain promotional programs. So we had a promotion where a whole bunch of people paid in full. We would get like a great little income boost, which we'd put right back into advertising. And Then we would wait to convert those clients, but once it didn't convert, our income would go down. And if sales didn't work, so our marketing wasn't effective, we found our business was struggling quite quickly. So what we had to do was work out a way to minimize expenditure while maximizing retention, while minimizing marketing output, which is a very, very challenging task. And here are the three things that we did to basically maintain that. The first thing we did was we subdivided the gym into 4 separate sections for 4 particular niches. The reason we did this is it reduced the amount of coaches required to coach a particular class. So if you are running a semi-private gym, the more people you have per class, the more coaches you need to have, and also the more redundant those coaches have because everyone's learning the same thing. If you've only got one niche and you're trying to fill a very, very particular space, a very big space in particular, you aren't going to do that. It's simply, there's not enough people around who are going to fill that space in a lot of circumstances. So what we did is we subdivided it into 4 different categories. We had the beginner on-ramp section. We had the DC Shred, which was our fat loss section. We had our DC Strong, which was our powerlifting section. And we had our DC Swole, which was our bodybuilding section. And this gave us a really unique competitive advantage. When we had anyone come on the phone and we had a conversation about their goals, we were able to sell them the actual solution to their problem. A lot of gyms in the semi-private space in the area that I competed just had one class model that they put people into. The problem with that is if someone wanted to do a little bit of powerlifting, they wanted to get really strong, or they wanted to do a bit of bodybuilding, that gym wasn't going to be the right fit for them. At DC, we were able to be the right fit for multiple different types of people, which gave us a great degree of versatility. And from there, it also, number two, it allowed our coaches to become subject matter experts in what they were doing. So we assigned certain coaches to certain parts of the gym, essentially giving them what's called an entrepreneurial deal. The entrepreneurship is basically, where you start your own company and your own business to make money. Entrepreneur is when you give people the opportunity within an existing business to take control of it, to take ownership of it, and join in on the revenue and join in on the successes. So with our coaches, we basically put them on an entrepreneurial model where they would be in charge of the strong area, they would be in charge of the swole, they'd be in charge of whatever group it was, and they'd be responsible for programming and retention. What that did is it gave them a real sense of ownership of the group, and they invested more time, effort, and energy into it than what they would have if they were just doing the same old thing every single day. We were able to basically not only individualize the gym to what our members desired, but we individualized the gym to what our staff members were actually good at. And this was such a game-changing thing for us. It made it so much easier because I knew the strong guys were getting good programming, the people who were doing the swole were doing great, the fat loss stuff was all moving forward, and the beginners had a dedicated coach to getting them the best possible outcomes. This improved our retention dramatically. And what it also did, it allowed us to reduce our staffing costs because as people trained together in that group, they formed a group environment rather than a semi-private training environment where they need more coaches. So we could run classes with up to 30 people at a time with one coach because everyone became really good at the class and started actually working together. The final step that we took to get the gym to 7 figures, besides reducing all the costs that we could, is we had a consistent marketing spend, but we had a consistent retention spend as well. So what we would do, we'd invest time, effort, money, and energy into things like strength testing days, social events, and stuff like that to help increase the customer experience that we had. We invested in online training apps and things that use technology like in-body scanners and having a chiropractor on board and stuff like that to provide a better service as soon as we could. And what happened then is when we provided the service, this was something our competitors couldn't do. We had a unique competitive advantage. We could individualize the training to something, to what someone's desires were, and we could individualize the retention and what other tools we would give them to help the client get the goal better. This gave us a ton more social proof, and it made us a much better gym because everyone loved the coaches that they worked with, they formed bonds, and then what happened is the referrals generated a lot quicker. So what do you want to do if you want to get a 7-figure gym? First of all, establish a good client base of people that know, trust, and like you initially. Sounds so simple, doesn't it? It's really not. But it's the most important thing to do. If you're building it from scratch, it's going to be even harder and you're not going to have a culture built in. Number 2, make sure that you empower your staff to take control of the experience to get the best possible outcomes for them and for your clients. This is such a game changer, and having good staff makes everything so much easier. And then finally, make sure you invest as much effort into retention as you do acquisition, and your gym will get to its highest possible potential.